It is Kieran Trippier. It is delicious! Glorious! Glorious!
Walker in there too. Luke Shaw! Harry Kane wants it played into him. He chooses Grealish instead. It's Grealish! It's Kane! I think like this has happened for a long time. Here's the overhead kick from Kane! Palmer finds Watkins. Watkins turns! Watkins scores!
Hello there, and welcome back to the Gate 102 podcast. I hope I find you well. I must begin with a massive thank you to anyone who sent in a message last week. I received a lot of nice messages over the last few days about how much they've enjoyed the podcast so far, especially last episode, which I think went down really well. So, yeah, I want to start by thanking everyone for those messages. It's nice to have some messages from people that aren't my dad for a change. So, yeah, thank you so much. So following on from that amazing tournament, we had the first ever Nations League campaign where England were in League A, the top league, and were in a group of three, along with Spain and Croatia. And it was a strange scenario as people were still getting used to the format of the Nations League. This was England's first ever game in that competition, and it came against Spain at Wembley Stadium. So I'll start with the team, and as this was England's first game since the World Cup, it remained the same system that worked that tournament, a 3-5-2 formation. So Pickford was in goal. The centre-halves were Joe Gomez, John Stones and Harry Maguire. Kieran Trippier was the right wing-back, and a return for Luke Shaw at left wing-back. This was actually his first start for England in 3 years exactly, to the day, believe it or not. His last cap was Switzerland at Wembley in a European qualifier back in 2015. We won 2-0 that game. It's actually when Rooney scored to become the all-time goal scorer at the time. So yeah, first start for sure since that game. It was then a midfield three of Jordan Henderson, Jesse Lingard and Dele Alli, and then a front two of Kane and Rashford. I think Rashford was playing mainly due to the injury to Sterling, as well as his bright start to the season for Man United. And England were obviously hoping to build on the success from the summer, whereas for Spain, it was the other way around. They were instead looking to bounce back. They didn't have a great tournament from their standards. They lost to Russia on penalties in the round of 16. And obviously Russia were the hosts, but Spain wouldn't have accepted being knocked out that early on in the tournament. So it was an opportunity for them to bounce back, and quite an important game for both teams. But it was a dream start by England as they got the early goal. And I think the goal we scored early on just summed up how good Harry Kane is. Harry Kane dropped deep, then put such a brilliant ball through to Luke Shaw on the left. And Luke Shaw put a really well-driven ball, low and hard, into the box. And Marcus Rashford was there to poke it past David De Gea. A brilliant goal from England. But like I say, that goal just showed how brilliantly Southgate built his team around Kane. He came deep, and then the wing-back pushed forward, in this case Shaw. And then Rashford was there to finish it off. And it goes to show how well Kane links the play. And I just think, I can think of loads of goals that are like that, but this one just stands out as a really good team goal for me. So an amazing goal and an amazing start for England. But then when you're winning against Spain, the likelihood is that they're going to put some pressure on your defence to try and get back into the game. And that's exactly what they did. So Rashford scored in the 11th minute of the game, and 2 minutes later, it's 1-1, and Spain score. And this wasn't the case of England sitting back, like some would say. It was just Spain were clearly a lot better than us in possession, which meant they could get back in the game. And 1-1 it was, and England were winning for only 2 minutes, and I think it shows how close these teams were. But yeah, I think Spain just had that edge, really. But And following Spain's equaliser, it's a pretty even game, quite end-to-end. Both teams having chances, and it was quite an exciting first half. And that's what I love about the Nations League, is that it adds that competitive bite towards games that would traditionally be friendlies. But half an hour into the game, Kieran Trippier gave away a free kick in quite a dangerous area. If I'm honest, it was probably a harsh decision, but the free kick was given, and a really good opportunity for Spain to take the lead, and that's what they did. Brilliant ball into the box, and no one followed the run in behind from Rodrigo, and he managed to get the ball before Pickford did and placed it into the net, meaning Spain were in the lead. But I just remember about that free kick, whether it was a free kick or not, it was such an intelligent cross, and the run from Rodrigo was brilliant, and it was just too difficult for the England defenders to mark him and pick him out. And yeah, it did mean Spain were leading 2-1. But if I'm honest, England responded really well and actually could have equalised themselves just before half-time. Marcus Rashford, again, having a header, which was brilliantly saved by De Gea, meaning it went into half-time 2-1. But yeah, despite the fact we were losing, I imagine Southgate would have been really pleased with his first half. England definitely showing their class, especially in the final third. And he'd have been hoping for more of the same in the second half, but it was quite a disappointing start, as literally a few minutes after the restart, Luke Shaw suffered a really bad blow to the head, resulting in him being taken off. And that's always been the case with Luke Shaw, sadly. He's just always he's just never got that luck when it comes to injuries. He's very injury prone, and it's a shame because he's a quality player. I mean, he got the assist in this game, and Ashley Young played left wing back at the World Cup and did a great job. But Luke Shaw was back from injury, and you think we've got a left-footed left wing back, but yeah, he got injured early on in the second half, and yeah, he was replaced by Danny Rose, who was a good player, but just maybe not at the same level. So yeah, it was really disappointing. I feel gutted for him, even to this day, about that game, because he was just like his first start for England in 3 years, got the assist in the first half, and then it all ends with a bang to the head, and it was a bad injury as well. But yeah, despite that unfortunate start to the second half, it didn't really affect England that much, as they still had a lot of chances to equalise. I thought the way Kane and Rashford linked up was brilliant to see. Between them, they could have both scored in the second half, but yeah, just couldn't find the net. And you do just think it wasn't going to be our day. You know, the longer the game went on, you thought, are we actually going to score? But in the 90th minute, Southgate opted to bring on Danny Welbeck, mainly like a last roll the dice sub, really. And this very nearly worked. With seconds to go, Welbeck managed to turn it into the net, and he thought he got the equaliser. But I say very nearly worked, because the goal actually wasn't given because of a foul on De Gea. And I've watched this back since, and I remember watching it at the time, and it always frustrates me because Welbeck did absolutely nothing wrong. De Gea just almost slipped, or his own player fouled him. Welbeck did nothing. He just fell to him and he scored. But yeah, the foul was given, and it denied England from getting that equalising goal. And it meant Spain got all 3 points, and it was so disappointing because, given the amount of chances England had and the fact that the goal should have stood at the end, it was really frustrating. But I think England's defending in the first half just let them down. Yeah, so it was a disappointing start to life in the Nations League, really. But England put a good account of themselves, really, against a good team. But just looking at some stats I found quite interesting, and this was England's first competitive game that they've lost at Wembley since 2007, which came against Croatia. It was also the first time England had lost three games in a row competitively since the European Championships in 1988, Obviously, these are just stats, and it certainly wasn't something to be worried about given the tournament we just had a few months prior to this game. But I think it was a mixed sort of performance, but overall, I think Southgate would have been relatively pleased despite the result. I thought Rashford and Kane linked up really well, as I mentioned. The midfield continued to play well. Joe Gomez did well, considering he didn't make the tournament squad. So, yeah, definitely enough positives to take from the game. And like I say, we were playing a very good Spain side who just got a new manager, so it was always going to be difficult. But England definitely put on a good show, and definitely lots to be encouraged by. So that was the first game of the Nations League. The next game England played was actually friendly against Switzerland, and that's what I'll be talking about in my next episode. So I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Thank you for listening, as always. Really is hugely appreciated. And until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you soon.